You're probably in college or trying to start a project in machine learning, and you only have a few months to graduate and find a job. You realize that there are a lot of jobs that require ML skills that pay well, and you want to transition to ML in 6 months, more or less. If that's you, this video is for you. Okay, so you have 6 months. So how do you plan this? Now, there are many YouTube videos out there where people provide roadmaps to learn machine learning. But one key thing that they miss out is time constraint. A lot of times we need to get things moving in a very short period of time. So when I say 6 months, what exactly is it? How much time can you put in these 6 months? Let's first consider that you have another job or you're in school, and let's divide our time by weekdays and weekends. Now, weekday, let's say you get about 2 hours of time to learn something new. Just quickly, let me know in the comments below how much time you can spare every week. That is 2 hours for 5 days a week, which is about 10 hours. Next, you've got weekends. Let's say Saturday and Sunday you can spend about 5 hours each. That's 5 times 2, 10, another 10 hours. So technically learning machine learning and getting into it is almost like a part-time job. So every week you've got about 20 hours that you can put in to learn something new. I'm gonna call it the learn time, LT. So in 1 month, this is equivalent to 80 hours. That's almost 2 whole weeks. Now you might say, oh, I've missed a day or 2 in a week, something came up, and that is okay. Some days you may be able to put in more hours, and if that's the case, go ahead and do so. It's okay to miss a few hours as long as you know you're being consistent over a long period of time. That's the most important thing. And you might also say, oh, this is so easy to talk about, but it's so hard to follow. And this is where I will say, take this as a challenge. Because if you don't challenge yourself to do something more than what you do every day, you will not grow. So think about that. There is a saying, I don't know who said this, but it goes like this. We greatly overestimate what we can do in 1 day, but greatly underestimate at the same time what we can do in a year or 6 months. Now let's get to the plan and the timeline. So I would break down this learning time in this way. To start with, let's just consider that you don't know how to program in Python, because that's also a key aspect. For the sake of it, let's just consider that you don't know Python. You also don't know the math behind the machine learning models. You don't know anything about machine learning, but you have a project in mind, or you have a particular job or an industry in mind. So you need to have at least a fair idea of what you want to do with machine learning. Month 1, I'm going to focus on purely learning programming in Python, because this is a very important and skill that you absolutely need. In Python, what you would also need to do is, in this 1 month, which is about 80 hours, remember? So you're going to learn all the basics, which is like, data types, different data types, the control flow in Python, function definition, all of that. And I'm going to put this under basics. In addition, what you should learn is some of the key packages like NumPy. Then I will say pandas. Pandas is something that you need for data handling, data cleaning, and whatnot. And then matplotlib. Matplotlib, of course, used for plotting things and doing some data analysis. So all of these are actually interrelated. So this will help you with data cleaning, data analysis, and so on. So how would I go about learning all of these packages? What I would do is go through the documentation only when it's absolutely necessary. So here's what I would do, because documentations for these packages are extremely vast and you probably wouldn't need a lot of that stuff. So once you're comfortable with the basics, learn how to write functions, because this will help you save a lot of time. So learn how to write functions, and then understand how classes are written and how classes work. This is a little bit of object-oriented programming, and I know that we're condensing everything to 80 hours, so focus only on learning the basics of this and applying it. You don't have to write your own class at this point, because learning how to write a class, especially if you don't have any programming experience, it can be really difficult. But get familiar with the structure of these different packages. That's the most important thing, because a lot of times if there's a problem, what you can do is just Google stuff, and you can look for things on Stack Overflow. Better option would be for you to go through what's called as Kaggle. Kaggle is a very good website where people post challenges for machine learning and data analysis and all of that stuff. So you can basically get data sets from Kaggle, and you can actually work on learning these packages on these data sets. So I would recommend, after you learn functions and classes and you know the general structure of all of these Python packages, what you could do is head over to Kaggle, get some data sets. There are plenty of data sets. I think there's, like, if you're interested in image processing, I think there's the Iris dataset. I'm not entirely sure if it's directly available on Kaggle, but do check for that. I know that it's available on TensorFlow. So if you're getting into image processing, TensorFlow will be another package that you will eventually have to learn, but we'll get to that soon. So you can get data sets from Kaggle, practice data cleaning, data analysis, plotting things in your very first month. It's almost like hitting two birds with one stone. Next, what we're going to do is get into month 2. Month 2 is for statistics and mathematics. This, believe me, is going to be a make or break situation for you. If you know and understand the underlying math and the statistics behind any model that you want to learn, you are instantly a step above the rest of the competition. So month 2, again, 80 hours. You need to make a specific plan for learning statistics and the math behind the algorithms. You will be the best person to make this plan. And if you need help with this, do let me know in the comments below. Also, if you're enjoying this, go ahead and hit the like button so that more people can watch this video, and we will be able to help more and more people learn machine learning, make proper plans for it. So hit the like button. This will also involve you learning the basics of machine learning. So this will start with probably why we split our data. Then you need to learn about what regression is. Regression is very important in two aspects. One, you've got linear, you've got non-linear as well, and you've also got logistic. So it's like classifying images of cats and dogs. So I would say second topic that you probably will focus on is regression. And just make a note here, I'm not going to list everything here. I'm just going to list a few things because I want you to understand what I mean by learning statistics and math in month 2. And if you want a deeper dive into each of the concepts that you want to learn or you should learn, let me know in the comments below. I will make a video in the future. And also subscribe so that you're stay tuned to the channel and any videos that I put out. And then, for learning different types of regression, you might also use what's called as neural nets, because this is something that a term that you will come across very frequently. Basically, neural networks. And these neural networks are useful in many different algorithms. So understanding the basics of neural nets, like what is forward propagation and what is like backward propagation, all of this is going to be very helpful. Then you're going to want to learn a little bit about something that's applied generally to all machine learning models, which is what we call as generalization, performance metrics, because there are many different performance metrics. You will also need something like what is hyperparameter tuning. In general, you should learn about what are the challenges to improving performance of the model. So month 2, although it's 80 hours, it will be math heavy, so be prepared for that. And remember, there are, especially if you're learning alone, there are no exams. Understand how much ever you can. Time is very limited and we need more time to learn more, understand better, and have an in-depth, solid foundation to machine learning. But if you're trying to learn this in 6 months, you don't have that luxury. And if you don't understand something, make a note of it and come back to it at a later time. That way you don't destroy your plan. So that is month 2, and now we're headed to month 3. But what I do want you to do in month 1 and 2 is one important thing, which kind of runs side by side. Think of this as something that you do, I don't know, when you're taking a shower, or, just before you go to bed or something, or when you're having lunch or dinner or something like that. Think of what you want to do with machine learning. What type of models do you want to learn? Or in general, what is the problem that you want to solve? This could be something very much related to your particular domain of interest, or anything outside that you're genuinely interested in. There is a job out there that you're interested in applying for. What is the problem that that particular job is trying to solve? And you can try and focus your effort more in month 3 to learn specifically the algorithms that you need. So this is month 3, where you will learn about specific algorithms. This could be something like NLP, natural language processing, image processing, LLMs or large language models. You could learn about how transformers are used. That can technically help with these types of models or algorithms. And don't miss out on traditional algorithms. And these are algorithms that are generally available in sklearn. Things like decision trees, random forests, simple linear regression or logistic regression, or it could be some type of clustering. So this package is also a very important package that you will come across very frequently. And for some of the basic stuff, you might really need this package. So I would say learn more about this package, go through the documentation. Now again, remember, you have a time constraint. Choose something very specific and stick to it. Or better yet, reproduce something that someone has already worked on, either through a paper, a published paper, or it could be something on GitHub. Find their code and try to deconstruct what they have already done. That way you learn from what people have already done. And also, if you're wondering what GitHub is, so this is something that you can add to month 1, where you will also learn about what GitHub is and how to use it. It's not really hard to use, at least the basics. For now, I would just say stick to the basics of how to use GitHub. It's a very good resource, very good skill to have. So I would say add that to your month 1. Now remember, when I talk about these algorithms like NLP or image processing, I'm not talking about building these different models or training models based off of these algorithms by writing your own code right away in month 3. No, that's not what I'm saying. So you've got 80 hours, remember. So in this 80 hours, all you can do is learn how these algorithms work. So you may have to pick up some books, you may have to go through some online videos or tutorials to learn how these algorithms work and learn the basics of these algorithms. This step of writing your own code is going to be in month 4. So month 4 is where you will focus on packages for ML. Now, I would put these packages as 3 main packages. One for traditional machine learning is going to be scikit-learn or sklearn. Then a very simplified way of applying neural nets is through TensorFlow. So you can apply some basic neural nets or even deep learning models. But the problem with neural nets that you should be aware of is they're not as flexible as the next package, which I'm going to talk about, is PyTorch. PyTorch it's a lot more easy to control the architecture of your deep learning model if you're using PyTorch. So just remember that. So hopefully by month 4, you know what you're planning to do. Hopefully you know the type of algorithm that you want to be working with. So you can decide based on that whether you want to choose scikit-learn, TensorFlow, or PyTorch. Focus about 80 hours of your time just learning these packages, whichever you choose. Condense it to 1 package or maybe 2 at the max. Because if you try to learn all of these packages in 80 hours, it's going to be very difficult. Month 5 is up next, and I hope by this time you've already decided what type of data set you're going to work on, and you've had some Python practice experience for about 4 months. Remember, practicing Python for about 4 months should be enough to get you to a point where you can start writing your own code to build machine learning models. So month 5, and hopefully around this time you've also got to a point where you've explored a few data sets, the data set that you want to work with. And this month will be all about data generation, or it will be something about collecting data from different repositories or databases. Most importantly, it will be about cleaning your data, cleaning and pre-processing your data so that you can start training machine learning models. And the reason I assigned an entire month for the dataset is because of these 2 steps, which can be very time consuming. You have to be very careful about data cleaning and data pre-processing because this can take a long time, sometimes even months. Sometimes it might be very simple, it might just be days, but whatever it is, I put it as a separate month because this is where I want you to also take some time to do some analysis, using Matplotlib and whatnot. You could also use Seaborn, which is another plotting package, right? But all of this has to happen in month 5. I know that I've put each of these tasks in different months, but if you go plus or minus a few weeks or a few days here and there, feel free to do so because I have a feeling that month 2 is probably going to take a lot of time. So will month 3. Spend as much time as possible in learning these 2 aspects in your plan. That leads me to our final month, which I hope you're excited about this time because month 6 is going to be all about doing a project. So this is the month where you will focus on building your own models and you will be training your own models. And this is the fun part because your 5 months of hard work is going to all come into one particular month. The goal of this month is to bring together all the skills that you've learned. And when you're done with this, make sure to host your code on GitHub because this is very important for employers when they want to hire you. They want to see some type of tangible results or proof that you've been working on something and you've done something. Just start putting your code up on GitHub from day one as you're learning Python as well. That way, a potential employer will see that and see the value that you can bring. So this seems like a pretty good 6-month plan. So I will just conclude by saying thank you for watching this video. If you have more questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I will be very prompt in replying. And also like the video so that more people can get help from this. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the channel so that you stay tuned on all the latest tips and tricks that I can provide you. And if you're interested in more tips on workshops and things like that, here's my recommendation and here's the video to watch. So until then, I will see you in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.